I'm pretty sure when we all bought AMC stock, we couldn't imagine or think that it would take more than 2 years for us to be here with the share price pretty much down to what it was looking. I mean, it was sitting at even before the whole run up, to the 70s and everything. Now, I just shared with you another video where I was kind of covering an article from Seeking Alpha, who is calling on the short squeeze potential with AMC as they're looking at what the company is doing and what the company will do in the next 2 years. Now, that could actually line up with something else I've been thinking here, that around the timeline on the short squeeze actually getting a little bit postponed, because some people might read that and think, you know what, maybe this means that AMC stock will actually won't squeeze prior to the next 2 years because the revenue might be getting up on the next 2 years, or they might be able to pay that in the next 2 years. No. Well, yes and no, because the thing with the market, the thing with the stock market, and the thing with stocks such as the meme stocks such as AMC is anything that makes sense from a textbook perspective. So everything you do know as what is actually the mechanics, how things are supposed to work, it doesn't necessarily hold true for stocks like AMC. And never say never, because even though the company can steadily pay down debt in the next 2 to 5 years, the thing is they can actually raise a lot more money than we thought by selling APE, because they issue a lot more APE than we are in the market right now, and they have the option to do so. And that's why I believe APE has been dropping significantly for the last, since pretty much inception. All right, it was trading at 10 and now sitting around maybe what 3. Okay, so all of a sudden one morning we can wake up and literally read on the news that AMC is completely and totally debt free. If that happens, well, I can tell you that the next second we might go to $50, because everybody will just make sure they need to get their hands on shares, whether they are real or not. Now, the thing is, pretty much all the real shares are already owned and held by retail investors. So even though institutions might, or other retails might kind of, pursue these in terms of FOMO and everything, we know that those are synthetics, all right? Those are synthetics clearly, because, when you look at the float, the amount of shares already in circulation in the market, and the amount of people holding between the institutions and retail investors and people like you and me, it doesn't match up. It doesn't add up, all right? So those fake shares are going to be will need to be burned in order for the shorts to cover by getting the real shares. That's why the potential on this thing is so much more higher. But actually, I think we need to be careful about the targets we have in mind. But the bottom line is, even though you look at the market sentiment right now, and you look at the perspective, you look at the negativity out there around recession and inflation being fought by Fed and the global economy, etc., those might last quite some time, and until things will not get better, maybe just maybe AMC will also be kind of tied into that whole FUD, and we might not see numbers that we want to see until the foreseeable future. But that being said, it doesn't necessarily mean that we cannot see exactly what we need to see in the midst of this whole thing, because we just need something to happen, like a catastrophic event, like something that nobody encountered for to just happen for this to go bananas. All right, so that's why personally I think, whether it's selling APE and buying some AMC, or maybe getting more APE with AMC, just make sure you do whatever works for you. But as for me personally, I think it's still worth kind of holding a little bit tighter, even though it feels like with time passing, the more time passes on, the more we go on this, the more I feel like we've been screwed. But maybe that's what they want us to believe, and I don't want to just let go that easily.